Okay, welcome back to another Tech Talk blog with James. Today we're going to continue our journey into the amazing world of AWS LZA Accelerator. We're going to touch on some security and governance, so deploying some security controls and some governance within your landing zone using LZA, and we'll show you just how easy LZA makes it for you to manage this. So what we'll do is we will enable guard duty across all of our accounts and some S3 protection, and then we'll go ahead and set up Security Hub, configure some standards, and then configure some strongly recommended controls for Control Tower. So we're here in the audit account. As you can see, guard duty is not enabled. We don't have any S3 protection or anything like that, and it's not monitoring. Guard duty is not monitoring, or it's not set up on any of my accounts within my landing zone. So we'll show you how to enable this. It is so easy in LZA. It's just incredible. And then we'll show you how the S3 protection works. How it enables the S3 protection as well. So what we'll do is, let me just find our config files. So we jump back into our config files, and we jump over to our security one. Oops, I've already got it open. Cool. And as you can see here, we've got some predefined config for guard duty and security hub already, as well as access analyzer, IAM password policies, Macy, and a few others, but we'll touch on these later. So what we're going to do is set up guard duty. Now, it is so simple. All you need to do to set up guard duty by default is just change these enable settings from false to true. So we change S3 protection to true. Now you can go in and do more fine-grained setup and configuration with guard duty, but for the purpose of this demo, we'll just enable it with all the defaults and S3 protection and the like. So that's done. So we can save that config file. Let's commit it. So enable guard duty, and then we will go commit, and yes, save changes. And we can jump back to the master account in the console, and we can go to code pipeline, and then we can release the change, which will trigger the AWS Accelerator pipeline, which will then go and deploy the configuration changes we just made in the config files. So we'll just wait for that to finish. I did have one fail earlier, but that's fine. This will go through and update that, which is all good. Alright, so we can see here it's all run successfully, which is awesome. So we didn't have any errors there. You can check your config beforehand using a tool that they provide, and I might actually run another video on how to set that up and how to check your config before you run it through. Cool. Alright, so let's go back to our audit account. And now we can see in here, if we go back to guard duty and summary, get rid of that. You can see S3 protection is enabled now, which is awesome. We're not using any other ones, but just S3 for the time being. If we go back, you can see that's enabled there across all of our accounts, which is great. Okay, so that's how you enable guard duty. So now let's go and set up Security Hub. So for Security Hub, I've done the same thing. I've already enabled it. And I've run the pipeline. So Security Hub, same as guard duty, just set enable to true, and then run across to your other ones. And here we go. We can see that Security Hub is all set up and monitoring. Now, let's go ahead and say we want to set up a standard. So let's say we want to use Security Hub to monitor for PCI DCS security standards. Okay, so again, all we need to do is jump back into the configuration files. And we'll bring back into the configuration files. Here they are. And if we go to security, and you can see here, there's an option to add standards under the Security Hub configuration. So again, I've already set Security Hub to true, and it's gone and set it all up, same as guard duty. So now let's go name of the standard, and we'll copy the name, just so I don't stuff it up. Now we'll call it, yep, that's the name of the standard, and then we will say, we're going to enable that standard, so enable equals true. All good. Yeah. Now you could actually do some further configuration to basically set some controls that you might not want it to monitor. So controls to be disabled within the list of controls in the PCI DCS standard. And if you wanted to do that, you just add those controls under here. Control 1, whatever, 2, 3. But in this instance, we don't want to. We just want to just set the default. So we won't specify any controls to disable. Cool. So while we're in our configuration files, let's also set some strongly recommended controls for control tower within our landing zone. So to do that, you can set controls, security control policies, custom manage in the security config, but you can also set the standard control tower controls within the global config. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a couple of controls to basically protect the root user across all our accounts in our landing zone. So the first one we're going to do is restrict the use of the root user account. Basically meaning it's going to, you're not going to be able to log in with the root user at all, and we're going to enable that. Put an indent there. We'll enable that across. We'll say enable true, and then we'll say, okay, so now we want to specify, all right, we want to put this across all of our accounts. So deployment targets, let's say we'll use the organizational units, and I'll just copy and paste, but we want them to go across all of our accounts, so we'll specify all of our organizational units. I'll just copy and paste these in just to save some time. There we go, boom. Okay, cool. So that's now going to deploy that control tower control across all of those organization units. So let's set up one more. So we'll just copy this and we will paste it in. Just save some typing. Cool. So now let's just do, let's set it up so we can't set any keys, access keys for the root user. So again, we want to put this across all of the accounts, so we'll specify all the OUs. We want to enable it, which is true. So all we have to change here is the identifier. So rather than the policy that restricts the root user, we're also going to add the identifier for the policy that restricts the user access key, creation of user access keys for the root user. Cool. So that's all done. So now what we can do, so what we've just done is we've enabled the PCI DSS standard within Security Hub, and we've enabled some AWS Control Tower controls around the restriction of the root user account across all of the accounts within our organization. So now we'll say deploy Security Hub PCI DSS standards, and also we enabled Control Tower root access controls. Cool. So now we'll add that and we'll commit that. We'll say yes, we'll commit that up to AWS, the code commit repository where the config files live. and we will trigger the pipeline, and then we'll come back once that's done and see what it's configured. All right, we're back here now. So if we go into Security Hub, we can see that once it loads, and we roll down, there you go, we can see that the PCI DSS standard has been enabled, and it's starting to pick up some results there, which is awesome, showing me that we've got a couple of failed, a couple of critical, high, medium. I better go fix those up. And then if we jump across to back into the master account, and if we go to AWS Control Tower, where am I? Yep, master account. And then if we jump into AWS Control Tower, it'll show it. We can see that across we'll pick one of our OUs, and we can see that highly recommended control has been enabled. So that really is how easy it is to enable security and governance across your landing zone. Obviously, you can go a lot more in depth, and a lot more configuration can be done, but there you go, there are our controls, nice and implemented. Awesome. Well, I hope that's been helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.